Hello trainers, Professor Palm here. I hope that all of you had a wonderful holiday. I know that I did. Well, I know that the month of December is coming to an end and the holiday may have passed it, but come on. I like to think that the entire month of December is worth celebrating the holidays till the end. And I also think that December is impressive, not for having just one or even two, but so many holidays that intersect all together. Also, it's kind of crazy to believe that we're almost at the end of the year. It just blows my mind. Where did all the time go? When the month of December rolls around, there sure are a lot of things that people are thinking of. I'm sure that many are thinking about getting holiday gifts for others. Some people are also thinking about receiving gifts. There are even those that are thinking about the fresh snow that'll be falling, as well as how cold it'll be outside. Yep, December is the month of giving. However, to me personally, I see December as a month of togetherness, as a lot of people come together, not just for the holidays, but also to see each other and also catch up about some stuff that's been happening throughout the whole year. I do want to advise all of you out there, if you have to be a part of this, treasure every single moment, because the older you get, you'll start to realize how much these moments meant to you. I know that they meant a lot for me. When December rolls around, there sure are a lot of things that we think about. But one thing I think we can all agree on is music. When December rolls around, you'll be hearing holiday music everywhere. You can't escape it. It really is one of the most wonderful times of the year. However, I'm pretty sure that all of us have that one holiday song we just love, and we have that one song we really just can't stand as it's overplayed. However, for my opinion, I think what I love listening to the most at this time of the year are bells. I don't know why. Just hearing the sounds of bells in the snow is just such a wonderful sound to my ears. I love listening to the ringing of bells. So yeah, I would say that whenever I think of the month of December, there are two Pokémon that are bells that always come to my head. I'm of course talking about the little golden bell itself, Chingling, and the little wind chime, Chimecho. These are the real bells that you'll be listening to the most for the season. Also, these are Pokemon that I think would be great if we had sound typing. Whenever I hear the sounds of both Chingling and Chimecho's bells, not only does it bring a smile to my face, it also puts me in a very good mood. I love listening to music, and I'm sure that so many of you do as well. In fact, some people even believe that Chingling and Chimecho are the creators of music, as when Arceus created them, he needed to make Pokemon that make sounds and also bring something different, and he made them. And I'm glad that it did, because I can't imagine the world without music. Someone once said, without music, life would be a mistake, and I completely agree. I'm sure that you've heard of ringing bells, but have you ever heard of singing bells? That's right, both Chimecho and Chingling have incredible voices. The moment you hear these Pokemon sing, it'll blow you away. These Pokemon have not just inspired so many people to make instruments as well as make music, but they've also been responsible for bringing us so many singers that we have today. Some people even claim that Chimecho and Chingling are the ones who created opera. And it's pretty funny to think, with their small size, they changed the world forever. Well, you know what they say, sometimes the smallest things can make major impacts. While the holidays may have come and gone, I like to think that mostly the holidays don't end until the month is over. Because if you think about it, we're going to be listening to a lot of holiday music before the 1st of January. So we might as well talk about two Pokemon that made a major impact for the world and also were responsible for a lot of things that we're listening to this holiday. Also, who doesn't love listening to the sounds of bells? So yeah, I think that there's a lot of really cool things that we can talk about with Chingling and Chimecho. I hope that you're ready to listen to some music today, trainers. Hope you bring your headphones, and also I hope that you got yourselves your instruments, because these Pokemon are happy to teach you so many things in music. Here are your teachers for today, so let's start this music lesson. But before we begin, a very special thanks and shout out goes to artist HTTP Koopa for making my ice type uniform. This is actually the same uniform worn by gym leader Melanie in S.H.I.E.L.D. since we're talking about Pokemon that have to do with things in the snow, I couldn't think of a better shirt to wear than this one. If you really like my uniform shirts that I wear in my videos that some gym leaders wore as well as trainers did, you can buy them on Etsy. I have a link to HTTP Koopa's Etsy shop in the description below. He is such a talented artist. I hope that you're ready to learn some brand new music, trainers. Bells sure have been a part of lives for so many centuries. Some of them have other purposes other than music. And yeah, bells also have played a major role for festivals as well as for lots of things in life. So I think it's time that we ring our golden bell. And let's do it with the baby bell itself, Chingling! Chingling the bell Pokemon is based on golden bells, which are most commonly known as sleigh bells. However, Chingling also draws inspiration from Christmas tree ornaments, as its red and white tassels are the colors of candy canes. If you wish to find this golden bell Pokemon in the wild, Chingling live in towns and cities as they love being in places with lots of noise. However, they also hang out in snowy areas as they love the cold, and in the snow is the best place where they can hear their chimes echo. Chingling just loves to sing. In fact, from the moment they hatch, they immediately start singing. Despite having just been born, they have amazing singing voices, and these voices go so far that they would put opera singers to shame. Just like most baby Pokemon, Chingling are very new to this world and are very curious. However, they also are easily frightened. Oh, and when Chingling cry, these cries have such high frequency that it can be heard for miles. Once Chingling starts crying, it can cry for an awfully long time. When not crying, Chingling are easily excitable and constantly wear a big smile on their faces. They love exploring as well as making new friends. They also enjoy cuddling with others and keeping others just as happy as they are. They are some of the most happiest baby Pokemon you'll ever meet. There is a red orb inside of Chingling's mouth that looks very similar to that of a tongue. When Chingling hops, the orb inside bounces all over, making a ringing sound. When Chingling find other Pokemon that also use sound, it harmonizes with them. When Chingling sing, they can hit some of the highest notes possible. In some of these cases, these notes can even shatter glass. They also use the red orb inside of them to make some music as they sing along. And because it seems like this Pokemon makes music and sings, it's known as the One Pokemon Band. Despite Chingling's small size, its vocal cords are crazy powerful. When it battles, Chingling deafens Pokemon by emitting high-frequency cries. It can also use sound waves to blast others back when it screams. With just a single scream, the opponent will go down. As powerful as these high-frequency cries are, humans are lucky that they cannot be heard by these cries, as they're too high for our ears to hear. However, while we can't hear them, they're powerful enough to give us ear-splitting headaches. Chingling are always on the go, and they don't like staying in one place. You can usually see them flying through the sky, all thanks to the air current. When they wish to stay in one place, they use the rope-like antenna on the back of their heads to wrap around and stay in a place. And they usually stay there until the wind dies down. Being a baby Pokemon, Chingling loves to play, and it easily makes friends with so many other Pokemon. Sometimes the Pokemon Chingling befriends even help it form a band. Whenever this happens, Chingling takes it upon itself to become the leader. For a small baby bell Pokemon, Chingling sure can crank the volume all the way to maximum. Its chime sounds will echo in your ears for hours. However, as it gets stronger, so does its power of music and the sound waves. So, let's go from sleigh bells to wind chimes, and evolve Chingling into Chimecho. Ah, with those soothing bells Chimecho emits, it's gonna be a good day, as its chime brings a sense of joy to all who hear it. Chimecho the Wind Chime Pokemon is based on Japanese glass wind bells, which are known as Fiorin, which were hung around Shouout shrines to predict disasters and also ward off evil spirits. For this red and blue wind chimes habitat, Chimecho can be found in forests as well as within cities, as it loves to be in noisy areas. However, it can also be found within graveyards, as it's said that their chimes can soothe restless spirits. Chimecho has a bell within its mouth that constantly rings. However, this Pokemon has a ringing that can come out as 7 completely different cries. Also, these 7 cries not only tell its mood, but sometimes when in battle, it can also be used to give orders to other Pokemon. As cute and tiny as Chimecho can be, you're best not to mess with it, or there'll be some very scary consequences. When Chimecho becomes enraged, it cries, resulting in ultrasonic waves that have the power to send its foes flying miles back. This Pokemon really knows the best frequencies when it comes to sound waves. Chimecho's cries that echo within inside of its hollow body emerge as beautiful notes. However, for some Pokemon, these cries uttered by Chimecho come off as scary and startle them. Chimecho uses this as an advantage to keep itself repelled from its foes. Just like with its previous evolution, Chingling, Chimecho loves to sing. It has an amazing voice that can easily grab the attention of anyone. It likes to sing with its chimes, as it likes putting on big shows for so many. In fact, there are some performers that perform using a Chimecho as their little bell. While Chimecho has some very stubby limbs, it cleverly uses its long tail to get whatever it wants. Chimecho uses the long tail to pluck nuts and berries, which it loves to eat. On a rather cool note, some of these berries that Chimecho consumes also give it a wider vocal range. Chimecho are always on the move in the sky. You can always hear one of them going by, as they always chime as soon as they fly by, saying hello. Thanks to their light weight, Chimecho can travel far distances in the wind alone, which blows them for miles. You may have noticed the little cup on Chimecho's head. This is their little sucker, which acts as a suction cup. It attaches to the underside of tree branches as well as the eaves of a building. This is done so Chimecho can stay in one place to rest. Sometimes the wind is too much for it and it needs to stay so it isn't blown away constantly. The weather has different effects on Chimecho. You see, in the cooler temperature, Chimecho don't like being in the cold as well as the cold wind, so they attach their suction cups to buildings so they don't have to fly away. However, when it's nice and hot in the hotter seasons, Chimecho always like to fly around happily in the warm summer air. Today is a day of joy and cheer, as we'll be hearing bells ring and a lot of happy Christmas songs. Chingling and Chimecho sure love to sing and make us happy. Just like with bells themselves, there's something even more to them. So here are some joyful fun facts and tidbits about Chimecho and Chingling. Chingling is currently tied with Azurill and Bidoof for being the smallest baby Pokemon by height, as each of them are just the height of 8 inches. However, Chingling is the smallest of all baby Pokemon at just the weight of 1.3 pounds. In the Gen 3 Hoenn games, Chimecho was the rarest Pokemon in all of Hoenn to find, as it could only be found on the summit of Mount Pyre with a 2% chance encounter, and this was the only way to register it to the Pokedex, as no other trainer used it. However, in the remakes of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, its encounter rate went up to 5%. Every Pokemon has a special quirk to them, and we call it an ability. For Chingling and Chimecho, they have the ability Levitate. Since these floating bells are always high in the sky with their psychic powers, ground-type moves won't do any damage to them, as they're too high to hit. In Pokemon Sword and Shield's Crown Tundra DLC, Chingling was the only baby Pokemon that could not be obtained unless traded. James from Team Rocket counted Chimecho in the 358th episode of the anime, which coincidentally is the same number as Chimecho's national Pokedex number, 358. Chimecho and Chingling are the only pure Psychic type line that evolves with High Friendship, and they're also the only pure Psychic type Pokemon that evolve during the night. As of Prismatic Evolutions in the Pokemon trading card game, Chingling has not received a new card in the English longer than any other Pokemon, as its most recent card in English was released in 2009 as a part of the Supreme Victors. Altogether, Chingling has had only 3 English cards. And Chimecho is one of 9 Pokemon that has a very special type of incense for breeding. In Chimecho's case, it has the pure incense, in order for it to produce Chingling eggs instead of Chimecho eggs. The happy ringing of bells sure can put a lot of people in a good mood, as those sounds echo very far. Chingling and Chimecho are no exception. Being singing bells, their ringing sure makes a lot of people happy. but some can't stand the ringing and prefer things quiet. Being both pure psychic type Pokemon, the joyful ringing of both Chimecho and Chingling will be silenced when either of them are hit by moves which are Dark type, Bug type, and Ghost type. With 3 weaknesses for Chingling and Chimecho, it's easy to see how their happy ringing turns into a hush, especially when they battle. However, these singing bells can only stay quiet for so long, as when they make noise, both Chimecho and Chingling's voices and ringing sure echoes far, and being a pure psychic type, they get great stab against Pokemon who are fighting type and poison type. While they only have 2 strengths over 3 weaknesses, Chimecho and Chingling prefer happiness and peace over violence. Being both bells, Chimecho and Chingling are just as happy as the rings that they echo. I guess you could say it doesn't matter whether they win or lose. Whichever way it goes, you'll always hear the ringing of bells. I love hearing the sounds of bells. So, when Chingling and Chimecho start ringing with those lovely sounds, it puts me in a good mood as well as brings a smile to my face. I also like that these Pokemon are singers too. It's pretty funny that they make their own music not just by singing, but also chiming too. Even if it's bells ringing, it's really impressive that these are the Pokemon who gave inspiration to so many to write songs. In the world of Pokemon, without Chimecho and Chingling's music, it would not be what it is today. They showed us how we could use the sound waves to make wonderful music. And without music, life would be a mistake. While sound typing sadly isn't a thing for Pokemon, I could honestly see Chimecho and Chingling getting it if it ever became a thing. The power of their voices would make them perfect for that typing. Oh, and not to mention that their cries are some of the first things that I think of when I think of Pokemon that would be good for a sound type. I just love hearing Chingling and Chimecho's ringing of their bells, as well as listening to those 2 bells sing. You'll be hearing Chimecho and Chingling's chimes for a very long time, as no other Pokemon has voice talent or even the music talent quite like these singing bells. I always found it rather cute how tiny Chimecho and Chingling are. Both Chingling and Chimecho are small bells, but they can emit some powerful echoes when they ring and sing. It's also rather adorable that despite Chingling being the baby Pokemon and Chimecho being the evolution, it looks like Chimecho has gotten even smaller through evolution. But one thing that they have in common is how powerful their sound attacks can be, as they can send endless ringing through their enemies' ears. Sometimes the best things we get come in small sizes. This is probably Chingling and Chimecho's favorite day of the year, as they go around every day spreading happiness and joy to both people and Pokemon alike. It's their ringing that can never be mistaken, and today is the day they're the loudest. I can't imagine Christmas without the chime of bells. You know that these singing bells are going to chime all day to carols and even sing for all of us. Today, I know I'm going to hear a lot of ringing in my head from Chimecho and Chingling's holly jolly spirit. With these lovely echoing chimes from Chingling and Chimecho, I guess in a cute way you could say, the bells are singing. Welcome back, trainers. I hope that you enjoyed your music lesson, but oh gosh, I have a terrible ringing in my ear. I think that we should end this right now. But before we do this, I just have a few questions for you. Since Chingling is a baby Pokemon, and we've had so many introduced over the years, who is your favorite baby Pokemon and why? Since Chimecho is one of many Pokemon that evolves with high friendship, do you like the friendship mechanic for evolution? Also, who's your favorite Pokemon that you've raised with high friendship? And also, does it mean a lot to you? If the 10th generation brings the sound typing, a typing that I think would have been great, I'm sure that a lot of us want Exploud, Loudred, and Whismur to get the sound typing. But do you think that the sound typing would look great on both Chingling and Chimecho as well? Since both Chingling and Chimecho are both Psychic type Pokemon, what is your favorite Psychic type Pokemon? What's your favorite Psychic type move, Psychic type expert, as well as what do you think is the best typing paired up with Psychic, as all typings have been paired up with it? And do you happen to play any musical instruments, or do you happen to be someone who can sing? If so, what musical instrument do you play, as well as what's one of your favorite songs to sing? Since Chingling and Chimecho are based off of bells, what is one of your favorite instruments to listen to? Thank you so much for watching, trainers. I hope that you're a fan of Chingling and Chimecho. Also, it's crazy to think we're about to start a brand new year. This is the end of 2024. Thank you for being around for my final video. If you liked what you saw, please leave a like. If you have any questions, you want to answer any of the questions that I just threw at you, you have an idea that you want turned into a video for next year, or you want me to cover something in the Pokemon current events, then please comment. And as always, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, smash the subscribe button. As a Pokemon professor, it's my job to teach trainers like all of you. So please share my videos to everyone. I hope that you enjoyed, trainers, and I'll see you in 2025. Thanks for watching. Palm out.